Hello, welcome and good morning to all the students present in this class. Today, in the second lecture of this energy conservation and management, I welcome all the students. And now, as we have started this syllabus of energy conservation and management for the final year students of mechanical engineering in the last lectures. So we start with the summary of the previous lecture and then we start with the today's content. So as we have discussed some of the topic as well as the review of syllabus in the previous lecture, that there are five main units are there in the syllabus of energy conservation and management, and after that we start the first unit, that energy scenario. And before starting this chapter number one of energy scenario, we have already discussed the scope of this subject in the current or the present era of mechanical engineering one. So as well as we have discussed some of the things related with the economics and the energy requirement for the growing economics as well as for the developing and developed nations. So in continuation with this previous topic, we start with the today's lecture. In first lecture of the energy scenario, we have discussed the definition of energy first. So the definition of energy that we have defined in the previous lecture, that is, the energy is the ability or capacity to do the work. And so we have go on the work. What is a work? Then we have defined the work. So work basically starts with the two different quantities. One is a mass. We have discussed the mass. Then we have discussed the force. Force is measured in the terms of Newton. Mass is measured in the terms of kg. Mass is known as the quantity of matter, and force is agent which is responsible for the motions or the restriction of motions. And if we discuss this case one, then here we apply the F force on the mass m, and under the actions of force F, mass m is moved by the distance d, which is in meter. So from this phenomena, we define the work done is force into the displacement. But after that, we know in the second case, if you apply the force in these directions, in horizontal directions, but your object is moving in some other direction, then how you will calculate the work done? So in this case, we are come to know that F into D into cos theta, where the cos is the angle between the force and the displacement. And then we define the final word, that is work done, and work done is equals to the force into the displacement in the directions of application of force. And then we define the next quantity, that is a power, and power is rate of doing work, means W by T. So F into D divided by T, we get F into V. The unit of this power is becomes the watt. And finally we conclude the force is measured in the terms of Newton, energy is measured in the joule, same as the work done, because energy is capacity to do the work. And then we define the power, and power having a units of the watt. So clear? And any doubts in this up to the slides? Students, use the chat box to reply. Any doubts up to this point, whatever we previously discussed? Use the chat box. Okay, so now we start with the today's content. In today's content, we are going to discuss the various units of energy. In the previous lecture, we have discussed that if you eat the foods, it gets some amount of energy to doing the some work. And if we refer the food packages, generally the unit of energy content inside the food is measured in the calories. Suppose if you drink the cold drinks, soft drinks, then on that it is also written that the 200 millimeters of these cold drinks have contained the 35 kilocalories of the energy. If you eat some biscuits, wafers, and other products, food products, it is mentioned on the product that this packet is contain this much amount of energies. If you also purchase some dairy products, it is also clearly mentioned that how much protein is there, how much calories are there. So this is the basic units of energy is calories, and we already know it. And I think all of you have performed the practical or all go through this Joule's experiment, and you derive the relation between the joule and calories. Actually, joule is a very famous unit, or it is SI units to measure the energy or work done. So this is a favorite, or this is a very known relations between the joule and calories. So in previous lecture we have discussed the calorie, and we also know the joule. So the relation between this joule and calories, that is 1 calorie equals to 4.186 joule. And from that we have defined the specific heat of water. All of you know, I think, P that we have derived, that is for the water is 4.186 joule per kg Kelvin. So this is the units of the CP for water. Now the another units, here the unit is given, that is called as a BTU. BTU means a British thermal unit. See students, GTU has changed the paper style from 2017, which is asked the questions of 347 instead of 77. In previous question paper style, GTU is asking the questions of 7 marks. So in this kind of the question paper, they're not asking this kind of questions, but as the paper style is get changed and it becomes a 347, till from that the small questions which is asked in 3 marks, which also contain this kind of concept. So this is very important concept, that the various unit of energy, it means sometimes it is right, it is asked in the GTU examinations, that in previous lecture task I am giving, that defined work, power and energy along with its unit. So this kind of question will be asked in the university examination, so you need to prepare according to. So here the BTU, again we convert all these units in the base unit, that is a joule. So BTU is a British thermal unit, and 1 BTU equals to 1055.1 joule. Then the third is very famous unit, that is called as a kilowatt hour, and we know it is indicated by kWh. All of you have heard this unit kWh. Now here we have the relation that 1 kilowatt hour equals to 3.6 megajoule. This meter is known as the energy meter. This is measure the energy. The quantity measure this matter is the energy. Now what is the unit of energy? We know that is a joule. Clear? Now it is very understandable. See, we have used this bulb. આપણે bulb use કરીએ છીએ. We have used this bulb in અંદર filaments હોય છે, and we have this kind of the bulb is there. Now the rating of this bulb is given in 100 watt or 60 watt, which is used earlier, that is yellow color. It is called as incandescent bulb, but nowadays these bulbs are not used. Now this is the rating of this equipment. If you run this equipment for 1 hour, then it consumes the energy of watt hours, 60 watt hours, for if you operate this bulb for 1 hour. Now see, a joule is the unit of energy, and W is the unit of power. Clear? Now if we go for this kWh, then the watt means kilojoule per seconds, and this is the unit of time, that is hour. So we convert this hour into the seconds. So we need to multiply it with 3600 seconds. Now this second is cancel it out, and we have removed this kilo, so it is becomes a 3600 into 10 to the power 3, it becomes a joule.
So we start with this 1 kilowatt and we ends into 3600 into 10 to the power 3 joule. So our final conclusion is 1 kWh equals to 3600 into 10 to the power 3 joule. And we know that joule is the unit of energy. So kWh is also becomes the unit of energy. So finally, our concluding remarks on this concept is that our meter that is fitted in our houses is called as meter. In previously we have the disk type of the meter, but nowadays we have a digital energy meters which measures the units of energy, and units of energy means which unit, that is a kWh, and kWh is how the rating into the time of utilization, and finally we get the conversion between the 1 kWh and joule. 1 kWh equals to 3600 into 10 to the power 3 joule. Total there are how many units we have discussed? We have today we have discussed there are so many units of energy is there, but we discussed the joule, then we discussed the BTU, then we discussed the kilowatt hour, then we discussed the calories, and lastly, which is widely used for the analysis of economics of or energy economics of any country, that is called as a TOE. TOE is called as a ton of oil equivalents. Now we are going in the next topic, that is a source of energy. So how many types of source of energy is there? Energy can be classified into several types based on the following different criteria. So first criteria is that the primary and secondary energy, then we have the commercial and non-commercial energy, and third classification of energy, that is renewable and non-renewable. So in suppose this is the question asked, that source of energy or the types of energy or classification of energy will ask in the subject, then you have to write this is the three types of criteria in which we can classify the energy, and that is the primary energy and secondary energy, commercial and non-commercial, renewable and non-renewable. So first, what are the primary energy? Primary energy are the sources, those that either found or stored in the nature, and common primary sources are the coal, oil, natural gases. And the secondary energy sources, that is the source. This is an energy source which does not exist in nature, but it produced from the primary energy sources such as the electricity generated from the burning of fossil fuels. Clear? So this is the first classification. We have the primary energy sources and the secondary energy sources. So primary sources are the energy sources that is found or stored in the natures. We have to extract it, or it is freely available from the nature. And the secondary energy is the energy sources which does not exist in the nature. We need to produce from the primary energy sources. So now I'm going to explain you one with the help of one chart. See, the primary energy sources are there, which is freely available. So which are the sources of primary? Crude oil, then hard coal, the natural gases, a nuclear power or the nuclear fuel, that etc. are there. Then the some agriculture waste, then the biomass, wind energy, hydro energy, tidal energy, etc., which is also freely available. But the electricity is not freely available in the nature. So what we have to do, we have this primary energy sources, but it cannot be directly used for the consumption at the end users. So here I want to take one examples, that suppose if giving you a one 10 liters of diesel, can you able to operate your laptop for 3 hours using the diesel directly? If you have the wind which is blowing at the suppose 20 kilometer per hours, can you able to directly use that wind for any of your purposes? See students, so what is the concluding remark from this example? That lots of amount of energy sources are available in the nature, and as per the definitions of these primary energy sources, the different energy sources or the different energy which is directly available in the nature, or we need to extract it from the layer of earth, then it is called as a primary. But the limitations of this primary energy sources is that we cannot directly consume this kind of energy for our requirement. For any kind of our requirement, we cannot be directly consume this energy. We have the solar energy, but we cannot be directly consumed it. We need to convert, and we need to transform the form. Transformation means we are changing the forms of energy from one to another, and that's why this is the very important steps in the energy which converts from the primary to secondary. So the limitations of primary energy sources is that we cannot be directly consume the primary energy. So for that, we can also not run our bike or car using the crude oil. See student, here which is a most important point, that crude oil is freely available. Not diesel and petrols are available freely in the natures. And the crude oil is a primary energy sources. Petrol is not a primary energy sources, because we need to do the some distillation process, and after distillation process we get the petrol from the crude oil. And that's why the crude oil is the primary energy sources and petrol is the our secondary energy sources. So students, here now I think we have clear the concept of primary energy and secondary energy. Just we complete our discussion on these slides, and then I'm giving you one task. So transformation is very important steps that converts the primary energy into the secondary energy, and the secondary energy is a petroleum products, then the manufacturing solid fuels and gases, the electricity and the heat. This is very and widely used. And the biofuels. Biofuels also is not directly available. We need to convert from the biofuels into the biodiesels. So this is, and last is most important, this all the forms of secondary energy which is directly consumed by the consumers, or it is ready to consumptions. So now we are moving ahead. The next classification is the commercial energy. The commercial energy sources are that available in the market for the definite price is known as a commercial energy. Suppose if we discuss the coal is available in the market at some definite price, the petroleum, that electricity, and non-commercial types of energy, the resources of energy that are not available in the market for the definite price are called as the non-commercial. Suppose a firewoods, it is available in the market, but there is no fixed prices there. Then the cattle waste, means the cow dung and all that, is called and comes under the categories of this cattle waste. And the agriculture waste, it is also do not have the fixed prices. And sometimes the difference between commercial and non-commercial is also asked. So we are going to discuss the commercial energy and non-commercial. Commercial energy has a greater economic values, where the non-commercial is a very cheaper. As we know that petrol or diesel comes around near about 80 rupees or 75 to 80 rupees. It is vary with respect to location as well as for the day, where the non-commercial energy sources are very cheaper. Suppose if you want to buy the cow dung, that is very cheaper. The commercial energy pollutes the environment badly. If you burn the petrol or diesel in your IC engines, it generates lots of pollutions, where the non-commercial energy sources are pure, or it keeps environment clean. Then commercial energies are the limited in the natures, where abundant in the natures, means commercial non-commercial energies are available abundantly in the nature. For the commercial energy sources, the high capital investment is required for the purifications can be used in a raw form, so no need to purify it. Then the next is it is used in urban as well as rural areas, where the non-commercial are dominantly used in the rural areas. We are not using in our houses. We are not using the chulas in our houses. So the coal, petroleum, natural gases, and the nuclear energies are called as a commercial energy, where the examples of the non-commercial is cow dung, charcoal, firewood, and agriculture waste are the examples of the non-commercial sources. We are going to discuss the third types of energy sources, and that energy sources is the renewable and non-renewable. Renewable energy sources are the energy sources obtained from the source that are essentially inexhaustible in the nature. And the non-renewable is the conventional fuel. Yes, see here, it is called as a conventional fossil fuel such as coal, oil, gases, which are likely to deplete with the times. Means it's going to have a limited resources, and with the some time period it can be depleted. So this is called as a non-renewable. So non-renewable, it is called as the conventional one, and the renewable is called as a non-conventional. You need to remember from this graph or the figure that coal, oil, gases, and the nuclear, which we get from the and since long we are using this is called as a conventional, but it is not renew after certain period of times, so it is called as a conventional and non-renewable. And here this is the renew, means biomass, it renews. The solar, it is also renew. The water, means the rain, wind energy, geothermal, so it renews after certain period of time, and which is not famous since long, so it is called as a non-conventional energy sources. So we stop over here with these concluding remarks. We have learned the different units of energy, different types of energy. So with this word I end the session. So thank you for attending this lecture.